Mariner program was a series of probes that NASA built at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in the late 60s and early 70s. They were designed to visit all of the inner planets. A number of them were designed specifically for Mars, and they represented a number of firsts in Martian exploration.
In the 60s, NASA sends 3 Mariner spacecraft on flyby missions, taking photos that give us our first real look at Mars.
We had learned a great deal more about the Martian atmosphere than we knew beforehand, specifically temperatures within the Martian atmosphere, and of course, more detailed imaging of the Martian surface.
The Mariner program discovers that there is no magnetic field on Mars. This means that solar and cosmic radiation is raining down unimpeded. Before this mission, scientists thought that the air on Mars was mostly nitrogen and oxygen, just like here on Earth. But they discovered that it's primarily composed of carbon dioxide. And as far as the surface temperature, one of the instruments detects temperatures at minus 100 degrees Celsius. We soon come to the realization that Mars is a cold and lifeless planet. In the early 70s, NASA sends another spacecraft to Mars, but this one will continuously orbit the planet. Finally, we are able to observe the entire surface of this strange world.
We get much more close-up images of the surface than we'd ever had before. So you're starting to see the surface of Mars as a place where there's geography. You can see mountains, you can see gorges.
The images reveal riverbeds, craters, and gigantic but dead volcanoes, including Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the solar system.
Yeah, Olympus Mons. So it's 3 times taller than Mount Everest, and the base of it is the size of about the entire state of Arizona.
Why is Olympus Mons so large? I ask that to my students in planetary atmospheres when we talk about Mars. I think it's for 2 main reasons. One is that Mars is a small planet. That seems the opposite from what you would expect, but small planets have less gravity, and that means that you can support a big structure like Olympus Mons. What goes right along with that is that Mars is cooler on the inside than the Earth is because it's a small planet, so its crust is thicker, and that helps it support the enormous weight of a big volcano like that.
Along with this intriguing landscape, questions arise. Is there still some form of life on Mars?
Even though Mariner appeared to show that there was no life on Mars, scientists still held out hope that there might be something there and it was still worthy of scientific study.
Around this time, astronauts are exploring another celestial object, the Moon. While this dominates the headlines, Dr. Thomas O'Paine, the head of NASA, makes this statement. The true goal is far more than being the first to land men on the Moon. The real goal is to develop and demonstrate the capability for interplanetary travel. For this reason, further exploration of Mars is deemed necessary.
Interplanetary travel is going to be essential in the long term because eventually the Earth will become unlivable just due to solar evolution, never mind any other potential factors. And so these technologies that we're developing now will be important demonstrations that we can create a sustainable presence off Earth.
When we come back, the next step to understanding Mars is to put a spacecraft on the planet's surface.
Viking was designed to capture all kinds of geological data, meteorological data, and also look for life.
The next goal for discovering Mars is to put a lander on its surface. Accomplishing this feat is a daunting one, as the Soviet Union finds out firsthand.
The Soviet Union did send 2 landers to Mars in 1971, Mars 2 and Mars 3. Mars 2 did make it to Mars, did not survive its landing, failed on its descent. Mars 3 made it to Mars, made it to the surface of Mars, but the first image that it sent back was described as a completely gray background with no details, and then completely failed shortly thereafter. So ultimately, it was also unsuccessful.
In 1975, the United States gives it a try, launching 2 landers, Viking 1 and Viking 2. It takes 11 months for the landers to reach Mars, and remarkably, both descend to the surface safely, with the use of retro rockets.
Touchdown, we have touchdown.
Viking was designed to capture all kinds of geological data, meteorological data, and also look for life. It may not be big intelligent life, but there still might be different kinds of organisms on the planet. And this was also the first time that they knew that Mars was absolutely a solid planet.
Scientists hadn't been sure what the Martian surface would be like. It was possible that it was as soft as shaving cream, and the lander might sink.
And so the first photo that came back of Mars shows the leg of the lander so that you can see it's sitting on solid ground.
The 2 landers each contain instruments to study the weather.
And we discovered that there are traveling weather systems with cold fronts, warm fronts, just like we have in the mid-latitudes here on Earth. Near the equator, on a summer's day, temperatures can reach 70 degrees near the surface of Mars. But that same night, temperatures can plummet to over 100 degrees below zero.
They also have a scooper that gathers the Martian soil to inspect for signs of life.
So the lander ran various different experiments on it, heating it up, adding some liquid to it, to kind of see what would happen, what kind of gases and emissions there would be. Most of the experiments for life demonstrated no evidence for life, so none of the signatures came out.
Many in the science community are resigned that Mars is devoid of life. Yet, there is still so much more to be discovered. Data from the Viking mission indicates that there were massive amounts of water at one point in time. But since each lander remained in a single spot, that understanding is limited. If they could follow the water, perhaps it would lead to clues of past or even present life. What they need is a rover that can move about the surface. Despite the accomplishments of the Viking program, it will be 2 decades before another mission is sent to Mars.
The Viking missions were designed to explore Mars, to land on Mars, but also to look for life.
Now the question is, are Martian organisms the same on the inside as us?
Carl Sagan was part of that, the life detection experiments. And when Viking failed to find evidence for life, some people thought that Carl and others had jumped the gun, and so you couldn't really talk about looking for life on Mars for at least 15 years after that. I remember, because I was at NASA Ames, and we were just mum about it.
Another reason for the delay is simply the cost involved. The U.S. Congress is reluctant to commit a big investment to something that might not deliver a substantial return.
Planetary missions are always expensive, and if you look back at it and put the missions in terms of today's dollars, big missions like Viking are always on the order of $3 or $4 billion.